Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we're talking about another casting controversy surrounding Scarlett Johansson. This time the 33-year-old actress and sex icon is getting heavily criticized for taking the part of a trans man in an upcoming biopic. The movie's called Rub and Tug and, well, the left-wing SJW media is having a field day with ScarJo being cast as the main character, Dante Gill, a 1970s crime boss who happened to be a trans man. But before we get into who this is upsetting and why, let's first look back at March of last year when Scarlett was facing similar criticism. She was getting attacked for taking a supposedly Asian part in the Ghost in the Shell movie. Here's a clip from a video I made about this story in 2017. If the only thing you have to complain about here is the race of the main character in a movie, we've truly devolved the debate into trivial nonsense. For the record, the main character was never Asian in the original Ghost in the Shell series either. So I think you get the gist of that story. Scarlett was in Ghost in the Shell because, of course she was. Scarlett is a sexy, sporty, household name actress, and any movie's production team should be delighted to have Scar on board. Their movie is going to be seen by loads and loads of more people, since Scarlett is playing the lead, and that's why this year, in this new Rub and Tug movie, the team behind that movie decided to go with Scarlett as well. And I personally don't see why Scarlett going trans for a movie is really that bad. Is it really any more of a stretch than her playing a Russian superhero like in the Avengers movies? Or what about a character from New Jersey like in 2013's Don John?
Why'd you say yes to me?
I'm just gonna have to wait to find out.
All right, I got time.
You're cute, I like you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Listen, you want to know the truth? You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
You like movies?
She is pretty damn beautiful, I must admit, but I can't help but wonder, why didn't people from New Jersey attack Scarlett for playing one of them in Don John? Probably because she's making Jersey girls look better, let's be honest, but really, this just makes the attacks on Scarlett for playing trans now all that more ridiculous. And it shows how big this pro-trans stuff is really getting out there. For more details, let's turn to a lefty SJW article from thinkprogress.org. It's called Scarlett Johansson's Flippant Response to Critics of Her Playing a Trans Man Sparks Outcry. Let's check it out. Dante Tex Gill was a crime boss in the 1970s who ran a fleet of illegal massage parlors. His outposts were a front for prostitution in Pittsburgh's red light district. He battled the mob and wound up serving 7 years in prison for tax evasion. A natural pick for a biopic, and Hollywood is on it. Plans for the, wow, they really named it that flick, Rub and Tug are underway. Just one hitch. Gill lived his life as a trans man. Attached to play him in this feature is a cis woman, Scarlett Johansson. Well, I gotta say, casting Scarlett already did its job. I would have never known or cared about a movie like this before, but now that Johansson is the lead, I'm all for it. It actually sounds pretty cool. Several culture reporters and trans actors have spoken out against Johansson's casting, lamenting that trans roles so consistently go to cis actors. See also Eddie Redmayne, rewarded an Oscar for his portrayal of Lily Elbe in The Danish Girl, Elle Fanning as Ray, a transgender teenager undergoing a female-to-male transition, and at least a dozen others. Trace Lysette, actress on Transparent, was among those highlighting the cis-trans casting double standards. Oh, word? So you can continue to play us, but we can't play y'all. Hollywood is so fucked. I wouldn't be as upset if I was getting in the same rooms as Jennifer Lawrence and Scarlett for cis roles, but we know that's not the case. A mess. Trace Lysette, huh? That sounds awfully familiar to me. Oh yeah, this is the same trans chick who was crying about Hollywood last year. I called her and other trans actors out for begging for work in a video last summer. Here's a clip.
Dear Hollywood.
Hey, it's us.
Trans, gender nonconforming, and non-binary people,
We need to talk.
We've needed to talk for a long time.
Are you sure it's been that long? Because it's June 2017, current year, and people on the internet won't shut the hell up about transgenders nowadays. Hell, Caitlyn Jenner came out 2 fucking years ago, and we still haven't heard the end of it. In fact, Caitlyn even won Woman of the Year. That's right, even men are better at being women than women are. But I digress. But with all this hoopla and transgenders all over the TV and internet, I think they're pretty well represented, especially for a group that's only 0.5% of the country. Yeah, I think transgenders are talked about plenty. Too much, probably. And it looks like the transgender agenda has only gotten worse since last year, and trans actress Trace Lysette is still pumping out this same bullshit. She's chiming in on this Scarlett Johansson story, of course, and her Twitter timeline is chock full of more stuff like this. And I feel like my trans actors begging for work video still holds true on this issue as well. The main reason SJWs and trans actors are coming out against Scarlett now is because they're jealous jealous and they want to be casted in the movies instead of her. And this is the reason they attacked her for starring in The Ghost in the Shell too, except that time it was Asian actors who were being jealous then, of course. Next, let's get to Scarlett's response, which can be found in this horrendous article from Screen Crush, who, wait for it, they were also the ones who posted that video I reviewed, where the trans actors were begging for work. Yeah, a lot of callbacks and previous connections in today's video, guys. Just saying. And it's pretty obvious Screen Crush has a pro-trans agenda still, as you'll soon see. Check this article out. Apparently Scarlett Johansson didn't get the memo about how problematic it is for actors to play characters of different racial and gender identities. Despite the whitewashing controversy around The Ghost in the Shell, Johansson is re-teaming with her Ghost director Rupert Sanders for another problematic portrayal, and now it looks like Screen Crush is doubling down on this, basically saying we hated on you for Ghost in the Shell last year and now we're doing the same thing again this year, and they use problematic twice in 3 lines. Ouch. That's not only stereotypically SJW, it's also just plain lazy writing. And I do realize I was referencing my responses I did last year too, much like how Screen Crush is now, except the main difference is I've been supporting Scarlett in her films. Hollywood can do what they want here as far as I'm concerned, but Screen Crush keeps chastising everyone and telling Hollywood and Scarlett to stop, but they keep trucking along. Hell, Scarlett's probably doing better now than ever. She was just in Avengers, like the biggest movie of all time. All the while, Screen Crush is kind of fading away into social justice warrior obscurity. And also for my side, there's the added bonus that I'm right about all these issues, so that helps us too. Johansson will lead Sanders' Rub and Tug, a drama about Dante Tex Gill, a real-life figure who was a massage parlor owner in 1970s Pittsburgh. The actress will play Gill and produce the new Regency film alongside Joel Silver, who has a script by Gary Spinelli, who made American Made. Gill has a fascinating story which included running an empire of massage parlors that served as fronts for prostitution in Pittsburgh's red light district, feuding with the mob and serving 7 years in prison for tax evasion. But there's a major problem with how Sanders' film is being described by other news outlets, most likely a result of how Spinelli has written Gill's life story. Gill was a transgender man. Johansson is a cisgender woman. All 3 trades, they all announced Johansson's casting by describing Gill as a woman who dressed like a man. One author using more incorrect and ignorant language describing Gill as sexually ambivalent. Note, gender identity is separate from sexuality. However, a quick Google search reveals that Gill lived as a trans-masculine person. Jesus Christ, Screen Crush. Get a hold of yourself. First of all, I know this was based on a true story and all, but that doesn't mean they're going to make the movie exactly factually accurate. They don't have to. Maybe they want to rewrite parts of the story a little bit, or change a few details to make it more interesting and a better movie. Maybe instead of being trans this time, the main character is just a cross-dresser. We don't know. We don't know what the artistic vision is for this movie yet, so to go and attack them before they even reveal anything is pretty fucking ridiculous. Screen Crush is just trying to virtue signal that it's down with the trans again, and they're showing a clear lack of knowledge about movies, stories, and writing and marketing. Next, they attack the trade magazines for describing the character as a woman dressed like a man, and, well, I hate to break it to you, Screen Crush, but that's exactly what transgenders do. They're dressing up like the opposite sex. I know that's not the PC SJW buzzword way you want to address this, but that's just the facts of what are happening. Next, let's skip to the update where Scarlett responds to all this nonsense. Well, one of her representatives does. Update: Johansson has issued a statement on her casting. A rep for the actress told Bustle in response to the backlash. Tell them they could be directed to Jeffrey Tambor, Jared Leto, and Felicity Huffman's reps for comment. Not only does this confirm that Johansson's project will depict Gill as trans, but that she seems to have no concern for the trans community and the many concerns about a cis actor portraying a trans character. Let's not miss the fact that she names 3 cis actors who won and were nominated for awards playing trans. Someone must be desperate for their Oscar, no matter who it offends. No, 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 and no, Screen Crush. This statement doesn't confirm anything of the sort. It was an offhand comment from Scarlett's rep, which sounds a little cheeky, and it's also pretty accurate. There are plenty of actors who have played trans in the past, so they make a good point here. And then Screen Crush goes on to mention the many concerns about a cis actor playing a trans character, like there's something serious to worry about here. There isn't. Scarlett is an actor playing a part in a movie. It's called acting, my dudes. Come on. Scarlett isn't desperate for an Oscar, and she's not trying to offend people either. In fact, Screen Crush and the trans community are the ones who are desperate for relevance, so that's why they're trying to latch on to Scarlett to get some attention here. And we haven't even gotten to the ironic implications here. I mean, if it's offensive for a straight actor to play trans, then shouldn't the reverse be problematic as well? You would think trans actors playing straight people would be offensive too, by this logic, but oh no, the social justice warriors gotta squeeze out some more of their famous double standards into this story. In case you don't believe me though, let's turn back to Trace Lissette's Twitter, where just a few days ago she retweeted this comment urging Hollywood to cast trans actors in non-trans roles. What the fuck is up with that, Trace? They're basically saying here that straight people can't play trans, but trans can play straight. In fact, that's encouraged. accomplished. I'm not sure what kind of mental gymnastics they're using to justify this, but in my opinion, this is highly hypocritical and just plain wrong. They're basically saying trans people can play or do whatever they want, and they're urging more trans and everything for supposed SJW reasons too, when really they just want the work, the money, and the attention. So when you break it down, the trans community appears to be doing this for highly selfish reasons, while trying to mask it as some sort of supposedly social justice, we're doing the right thing narrative. And I say that's super wrong and kind of fucked up. In the end, the irony here is really fucking strong, and Scarlett Johansson, she didn't do nothing wrong. Scarlett is a sexy angel and a saint, if you ask me, and she's a talented actress, which any project should be lucky to have her on board. Can you really imagine hearing about this movie otherwise? I mean, I'm pretty sure if they did cast a trans actor for this, people would have never found out about this project to begin with. And if we're really being honest here, are trans actors really that good and deserving? I know the SJWs would say they're not getting parts in movies because of sexism and bigotry and homophobia, but I say trans actors just might not be as good. And another note, sorry to burst your bubbles here, gals, but I know Trace here thinks her transition is perfect and flawless and no one can tell she's really a man, but we could still see it, and the crowds and the moviegoers and the people out there would eventually start to notice too. On the flip side, if there were trans actors who were talented and popular enough to carry blockbuster movies, I'm sure Hollywood would hire them in a heartbeat. They're running a business after all, and if there's a way to make money out there, Tinseltown will find it. The fact of the matter is this: we have yet to see any big, huge, impressive trans actors break out into stardom. It could happen one day, and I'm sure most of America would embrace it, but right now, SJWs are trying to force it, and that's just not gonna work. You can't say we need more trans actors just cause. What you need to do is find better trans actors out there, or train the ones you got, because seeing all these ladyboys going around bitching about Hollywood and begging for work, that just ain't gonna cut it. What do you guys think? Why is Scarlett getting lambasted in the media yet again? Is it really offensive if a straight person plays a trans person in a movie? And should trans people be able to play straight people then? And what do you think about Screen Crush and them continuing to push this SJW nonsense almost a year later? Comment your thoughts on everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. See y'all next time.